It is 7:25 a.m. on um, March 15th. I'm like, I think it's Pi Day, or yesterday was Pi Day. Oh, interesting. I just pulled up on the screen page here, and it's got a big red truck. Wonder what that means. There's some type of symbolism with that, especially with the red. Anyway, I had a dream last night. How do I don't know really how to describe it, but it has to do with my hand. I woke up just like minutes before midnight, and my wrist, it felt like somebody had taken my wrist and either moved it completely. You know how you can take your wrist and bend it completely down or bend it this way? Either I was laying on my hand or my wrist, but I'm not too sure of what's going on. Oh, that's interesting. What's going on there? So I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, my wrist hurts really bad. And what woke me up is, and now I can't remember everything that was going on, but it was chaotic. It was seriously chaotic. But the thing about it was, when I woke up, I was saying in my mind, golden child, the golden child, the golden child. It had to do with somebody. I don't know if it was somebody or a group of people were looking for the golden child. And I don't remember the whole how it was all going. It's so interesting because I can still sense it and feel it. That they were looking for the golden child, and they were going door to door looking for this golden child. And there was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of, I don't want to say fighting, but a lot of panic. I think what's coming to a lot of running around, a lot of hiding this golden child. We got wings. I think that's what it was. They were hiding this golden child. Oh, that's interesting. I just thought about this, and it just popped into my mind. It's like after the woman, remember in scripture, it's like after the woman gave birth, the child, she gave the child up to God, and she fled to the woods to hide because God had a safe place for her. And the dragon was looking for the child. Or was the dragon looking for her? I'm not too sure. I have to look at that part. But I remember that story, and I think it has to do with, let's see if we can try to look it up here while I'm chatting about it. But I woke up and I got up and I realized I still got the bottle of water. I only had that much water. I didn't think I had anything. I thought it was totally empty, actually. So I went to go get a new thing of water, and it's almost gone. And I go in, I reach and get it out the bag, and I'm trying to open the lid, and my wrist hurts so much. I don't know. It's like I was in some type of battle defending this golden child. Something to that effect. But I tried to open up my water. I couldn't open up my water with this hand, my right hand, which I'm right-handed. I had no strength, nothing. I even took a towel and tried to open it. I'm just like, my goodness, how come my wrist hurts so much? And then I was up for till like 3:30 this morning, just watching videos and stuff. And the whole time, my wrist is seriously hurting. And I'm like, my goodness, because sometimes you know how the feeling is. Have you ever had one of your body parts go to sleep, right? And how when it starts coming awake, right? You kind of get that slight pain. Um, but I went back to bed about 3:30, and I'm laying there, and I'm trying to pull the. Well, eventually I got my water open. Um, I go in and practically drink 3/4 of that water, and then I go and lay back down, and I'm trying to pull the covers up, cuddle up and go back to sleep, and I had like zero strength in my wrist of trying to pull the covers up, and I'm still freaking out. I'm just like, what has caused this? And then I'm like, when I was laid back down, again in my mind, something about the golden child. I just kept not hearing. I'm not hearing it. I don't even know how to describe it. I'm hearing it like I'm in my dream. Something about the golden child. And remember the golden ring, the eclipse coming up has got that golden ring. And another thing I want to talk about is, but anyway, so I go back and I lay down, and I figured, just sleep it off for a couple more hours, and I woke up around 6. But my wrist is still flipping hurting. I mean, it really is seriously hurting so bad. I was like looking at it, and I'm like, my goodness, I didn't break it or anything. Why is it still so sore? How you kind of just go like this to try to loosen up the joints and stuff. It's like I can move it and stuff, but it's seriously like painful. So I don't know, I'm just documenting this and sharing this because it's something, it's an experience I went through, and I can't understand it. I also want to mention, I think his name is John Cena. He's a really big guy. He's like one of those Hollywood stars, whatever. I guess at the awards ceremony, he come out naked. And remember I was telling you about how this world, it's like, what's his name? Usher or something. Yeah, Usher, that for the Super Bowl. There's video clips out there, the people that are in his industry talking about how they're offering these people money, these guys money to wear dresses. Like he passed down $50 million to, not Usher, but some other guy. The Tate brothers I was telling you about. They weren't going to go out and be put in a dress, right? And they told them if they've gotten the dress, they give them $50 million. And they're like, we're not getting in no dress, And so that's when I told you they got arrested, and then, they got raided and everything. And they're trying to make an example out of them because they didn't go with the flow. And then before the Super Bowl even begins and stuff, Usher come out in this little short black miniskirt dress as well. John Cena also has a movie that they showed where he's playing a girl with ponytails. He's like this big guy, and I don't know, maybe it's a trans movie or something to that effect, but he's got lots of makeup on, like he's like a rag doll or something, and he's eating. It's like a humiliating ritual. So anyway, he comes out on the wards, and he's only holding a card over his privates, right? And you can see in his face as he's looking at the audience, he's just not happy. He's like being humiliated. And the next thing you know, the people come rushing out the back. About 5 or 6 people come out with this golden gown. You know how the Romans like wear the golden gown, and actually during the Super Bowl, the mother of the Kardashians was talking about the Oreos, doing the Oreo commercial, and they show like a form of heaven where all the Greek gods are up there and they're all eating Oreos, right? And looking down at the Super Bowl, at the people in the Super Bowl. Remember, these are all clues and signs that they're showing us. Now, Oreo, remember Ray is our second chakra. It's, remember, do, re, mi, fa, so. Ray is the sacred golden sun. Ray, I think, is the twin of Ra, the twin brother. And if you put Ra, R-A, and R-E together, you have rare, the word rare. It's quite interesting. I know I say that a lot. It's quite interesting because it is just fascinating. So what they're showing is, and then when John Cena was on the stage, they bring him out this huge robe, golden robe, and put it around him all over his body. I just seen the short clip. I didn't see it past that. But it's the symbolism of how he come out naked with nothing, and then they rushed out and put a gown on him. So if we look at how, because remember, the dark mimics the light. They have to, and plus the dark has to tell you, certain things, So if we see that playing out on stage, we can, think, well, what's God's plan on playing out on stage? So it's the opposite energy. Golden Age. Remember, I was showing you all the clips that I did about the World Debt Clock was showing the new Golden Age and the money system. We're leaving the old world behind. And then, of course, you got Obama making that movie, Leave the World Behind, where it shows everything crashing, satellites coming down, bombs going off, people running in shelters, that kind of thing. All communications, it's, in a way, if you think about that, if we think about 3 days of darkness, I don't know about you, but I've always been taught 3 days of darkness is the light outside being dark. But I wonder if darkness can also mean power outage, internet outage, phone outage. 3 days of darkness, meaning no communication. You're being blinded by what is happening in the world because they've shut everything down. So I just want to throw that out there because, it's just a different perspective. Just fascinating. But there's something, because remember I was telling you that there's a difference between a dream and a vision that I've experienced. The visions that I've had are usually super bright. I mean, like, it's like, the ones that I've had where I was around God, the light is so bright where you have to like focus, and then the colors are, just like when I woke up in that bathtub, this whole marble bathroom, right? It was just beautiful. And there was like no dials to shut off the water. It was just continuously overflowing, and it was going over the bathtub. The bathtub was raised up, and I had to walk downstairs, like down this thing, so it was like, and the fountain that the water was coming out was like this big lion's head. And the water was just going so super fast. But I remember when I was laying in it, I was like I was normal and here today, like in a bathtub. But when I woke up in this bathtub, I was just like, I looked at my feet and I was splashing and, I was rolling around. I was like, this is a huge bathtub. Oh, wow. And I was looking for a hook that has, a towel or something. And there was no hooks on the wall. There was no towels. It was just blue marble everywhere. The bathtub, the walls, the steps, everything was just this pretty blue marble. And the bath water, I remember the feeling of the water, but it wasn't like I could feel if it was hot or cold or warm. The only thing that I remember feeling on my body was was the water, but not a temperature of the water. It was just playful water. I don't know. It was fascinating. And then when I come downstairs and seen that light beaming through the door and the water's going underneath the door, and I kind of was like thinking, oh my goodness, if I touch this door, am I going to get shocked? Because when I was standing there naked, right, I looked down at my feet and the water was rushing over my feet. So I touched the door and I didn't get shocked. The whole thing is that there was in my mind, I was like thinking there's a lamp inside. I wonder if that lamp is wet, and am I going to get shocked? Well, the thing about it is when I got to thinking about that, the lamp, because Jesus is our light, right? He's the lamppost, the lighthouse. And I was even thinking about the words that I was saying and what I was thinking in those moments. And then, of course, when I turned the knob at the door just opens up. And I think it opened up because of the water pushing it. And it was just like this big, huge, bright light beaming right in my face. And I was like, I don't even know if I put my arm up. Maybe I did. I was putting my arm up to try to get my eyes adjusted. And it didn't take me very long to get my eyes adjusted. It was like a bright light. And then I can see, and next thing you know, when I was looking up, I can see Jesus just hovering there. And he's just like beaming this bright light. And you know how the sun has those rays that you can see, if you put your camera up, you can see all these like sunbeams coming down. I can see the beams coming at me to where, because I even tried to touch it, the beams were coming at me, and it was like right here, all these beams beaming off of him, and it looked like little fiber optic beams, because you can see like the colors of the rainbow. They're all lined up and twirling it, just, I don't know, it was just amazing, just sparkling. And I go, oh, I said something to the fact, I go, oh, hey. And again, that's why I was looking at how I was talking to him like a child. I was like, oh, hey. And he just points, for me to pretty much turn around. He's smiling, he points and I turn around from the door I just come out of, and underneath the bathtub that I was in, he opened up like this wormhole, or somehow this wormhole was open, and I could see, the water's coming down on this side over the wormhole, and then, or a gateway. I don't want to call it a wormhole. Let's call it a gateway. Just a big opening that opened up. And I can see, I remember kind of looking like this, and I can see right through the water, and there's like this paradise, all these exotic plants and pretty colors and stuff. And he's pointing that way, and I turned back around and looked at him, and I go, how'd you do that? And I woke up. So I don't know if I went through that, if I went through it, and I pretty much probably did. because the next vision happened on October 19th. That happened in March of 2020. The next vision I had happened in October 19th, 2020. Now, the interesting thing about October 19th is October is 10 and then 19, so it's 119. It's a reverse of 9/11. Is that a trip or what? And that's when I went into a vision where I walked into some room. I walked into one room where Lance was, one of my high school friends. I'm like, come on, get up. We got to go. He's here. And Lance didn't come. There was more to that scene, but I'm just going to jump to it. And I close the door and I go to the next room. And it was my brother and my older brother and Belinda, another friend of a high school friend, which is actually best friend to Lance. And I go, come on. And they had the sheets up. Like, the only thing I could see is this part of their face, right? And they were just like scared. And actually, Lance was scared too. And I was like, come on, he's here. So I closed the door and I walked around the corner. And as soon as I walked around the corner, I seen coming to the left side of me, like hovering over towards me, Prince Michael with this book open, and Archangel Gabriel behind him. It was like floating, he looked like he was floating right behind Prince Michael. And I go, just, of course, I start off the conversation. As I come around the corner, I see him and go, does God want to talk to me? And he goes, yes. And I go, what about? And then Archangel Gabriel goes, oh, I'll show him. And he's all happy. And he goes over in this next room, and there's all these like screens lined up in this one room all across the wall. Because I remember when he went over there, I was looking at all these screens, and he was going up to the first screen, and he was it's like he was touching it, and an image would show. He goes, the next one, he'd touch it, and an image would show. And then I kind of like blacked out or something. And then within seconds, I'm at God's feet with my leg next to his. And, I'm looking at his brass foot, and I'm like, and my foot's right up next to him, and his leg is like super huge, and his foot's super huge, but his feet were just so pretty. I was like, he does have brass feet. And I was like, oh, I want to touch his feet. How does that feel? I wonder what it feels like. And so I was, as I'm sitting in between his legs, I'm thinking this, and I was getting ready to reach down to go touch his foot. And this hover platform that we're on rises up. And as soon as it started to rise up, I pulled myself back. I'm like, oh, you can hear my thoughts. He's right behind me. And then that's when he had picked me up, to look at these screens. And, so, and then that's when I went from screen to screen. I get to the second screen and go, oh, someone's taking the same notes as me, right? Because you've seen a lot of you have seen lots of my notes that I take all the time. And I go, oh, someone's taking the same notes as me. And then we go to the third screen, and I'm like, this looks like my handwriting. And these are my notes. And I kept turning around to Prince Michael. These are my notes. And then we go to the next screen, and I'd see more of my notes. So it's like they've taken a picture of my work, of what I've done, and was putting them on the screens. And then we get to the last screen. That's where I was looking in the screen. I remember it being dark. There was something dark, not dark as in dark energy, dark as in like the backdrop of the firmament above. It's like I was way up there, which is really interesting because when I was having this vision, I opened up my eyes, I was laying on this couch. So my body was here, but up there going through that vision, I had another body. I was in another body. It was like the same body. My feet were the same, my legs were the same, um, my hands were the same, because I was looking at, I'm like, oh, and I was in this white gown. I remember that part. And when I was sitting up there, and I'm like thinking, and I wasn't really comprehending what was going on. It was um, like it was expected. I don't know, something to that effect. On another level. It was like I was shocked of all this stuff, but I was really excited that God was here. Waking up my friends, get up, get up, get up, he's here. And they were like in fear. And I didn't realize their panic and fear until, as I'm going through it over to the last couple of years and talking about it. And I'm like thinking, oh, I picked up on all the other signs, but why were they in such a fear of God? And it was such a trip. I couldn't figure out what they were such a fear of God for. And I think it has to do because my encounter with the first guy, Lance, that I went through, which Lance is representing in a symbolic way that I was supposed to get out of the dream. The Lance is the Holy Lance, or the Holy Spear, which they showed this spear, but even Scooby-Doo Incorporated, the last ones where they have they defeat evil, they defeat all the evil with the Spear of Destiny, and that's kind of what the Holy Spirit looks like too, as well. I think they call it maybe the Holy Spirit too. I'm not sure, but what it's representing. And then my friend Belinda, the word B means kin, like a kinship. And Linda, that'd be my mom's name too. And I looked up her name, and it's serpent. Remember, the serpent's the DNA strand, right? Going around the tree of life. And then my brother Bill, his name's William. Well, if you look at William, will I am. So the will I am, kin, if we look at will I am and then Belinda's name, B, serpent, or the kin DNA, and then Lance, the Holy Lance. It's so interesting, the thing, how God communicates with me through the symbols, people. And I used to not understand how these people were, what's the symbolic nature of these people, until it's like in my mind, it's like their names kept popping up. And then I'm like, oh. So that's when I was like, well, Lance. So I put in biblical Lance, and that's when it brought up the Holy Lance. Actually, let me put that in there. The Holy Lance. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, the Holy Lance. The Holy Lance, also known as the Lance of Longinus, the Spear of Destiny. And remember, I was telling you about Scooby-Doo? It was the Spear of Destiny, or the Holy Spear is the lance that is alleged to have pierced the side of Jesus as he hung on the cross during his crucifixion. That is a trip. So it's just all these kinds of symbolism. And then Linda, meaning pretty. My mom is pretty. Of the Spanish origin, pretty. Roots, Lynn, tender. The Lynn tree, symbolically, the tree is a positive association with love, prosperity, and healing. Now, birth and fertility. I know it said a serpent before. How beautiful. Pretty. How pretty. Oh, that is interesting. This is, oh, there it is right there. Lilith as a serpent. Oh, that is a trip, because remember in I Pet Goat 2, Lilith is the blonde holding the apple, and, where she just kind of gives out and drops the apple. So the name Linda means beautiful in Spanish and has a Germanic origin meaning soft, tender. It's also Teutonic, Old German for serpent, or Lilith as a serpent. Interesting. That puts a whole new meaning. Because remember in I Pet Goat 2, where Lilith is standing right before they take the total focus from